Created in 1994, Blink, aka Clarice Fong Ferguson, is a mutant who debuted in Uncanny X-Men issue 317. Blink is one of the few characters in the Marvel multiverse whose alternate version from another timeline, specifically the Age of Apocalypse timeline, is significantly more popular than her Earth 616 counterpart. So, what can this mutant do? Well, her powers involve teleportation. To say that this character's abilities merely allow her to teleport from one place to the next, though, would be a great understatement. There's a lot of nuances to Blink's character, which we plan on breaking down for you today with our list of the top 10 superpowers you didn't know Blink had. Let's get to it. Starting us off in at number 10, teleportation warps. Let's address the most obvious of Blink's powers. Not only can she teleport herself, but she can teleport others at will. And we're not just talking about one or two people if she concentrates hard enough. She's capable of teleporting sizable groups of people, and when it comes to objects or organic matter, very large masses. She once teleported a large cannon that weighed approximately 138,000 pounds. This power is referred to as warping teleportation, and Blink of the 616 universe has range effectively to the moon and back. It's also worth noting that teleporting large masses does not create any physical strain for her. Man, it's kind of like the dream. If you're like, I gotta move, let me teleport all my stuff from one place to the next, bam, done. Up next, number 9, she can open portals. Aside from teleporting, she can open up portals that lead to elsewhere. This means that she can displace projectiles coming her way by opening up a portal and sending them elsewhere. And it's not just attacks or objects that this affects. She can transport foes too. Technically speaking, these are biomolecular displacement warps that she creates by manipulating the electromagnetic fields of a particular area. These portals are generally pink in appearance and make a blink sound when activated, hence her codename. These portals remain intact until Blink uses her powers to shut them. Moving on to number 8, a little destructive. Another trick that Blink has exhibited over the years is one that's quite destructive. She can use her teleportation powers to teleport specific parts of an object. This means that if something along the lines of a gun, for example, was pointed in her direction, she could teleport part of that gun elsewhere, preventing the attack. On the flip side of that, she can also remove parts of an opponent. She has been known to attack a foe with her javelins, more on those later, and hit a specific part of their body, teleporting only that part of their body instead of their entire person. Yikes, imagine getting hit in the leg and then just like losing a leg forever because it's teleported to Spain. That would suck. And at number 7, she's a skilled marksman. Aside from being well versed in hand-to-hand combat, Blink is a very skilled marksman, or markswoman actually, and has an almost unbelievable accuracy when throwing projectiles at her opponents. She's incredibly fast, she can move in the blink of an eye, and has an enhanced level of agility, although it has never been clear whether or not her agility and her accuracy were the result of pure mutation or just come from years of training. Moving on to number 6, black magic. On Earth 616, Blink briefly dabbled in black magic in an attempt to revive mutant Selene in Europe. Now, she was under the influence of Selene when this happened, who had magically possessed her in order to do so, but luckily was stopped. Emma Frost, along with Doctor Strange and others, would prevent Blink from going through with it, attacking her and subduing her. Blink of the 616 universe has some serious beef with Emma Frost from when she was a prisoner of the Phalanx and felt abandoned by Frost and the X-Men, and eventually just ended up teleporting away to another dimension after this conflict ensued. And at number 5, the In-Betweener. Jumping into a different alternate version of Clarice for this number, let's talk about What If Volume 2 Issue 75 from 1995. Titled, What If Blink of Generation X Had Not Died, the story follows exactly what its title states, with other young mutants of Generation X dying in Blink's place. She ends up finding herself in the realm of the In-Betweener, a cosmic entity, who she then seemingly kills in combat, gaining his powers. With these powers, she can warp reality and she tries to improve the world, ending the human-mutant conflict. Except, she also tries to save her Generation X teammates, but in doing so causes reality to crumble and disintegrate, since their deaths were the reason that she found herself with these new powers in the first place. Blink undoes all of the changes that she made, and the In-Betweener reveals that he was not dead at all, taking Blink under his wing as an apprentice to train her in using these reality warping abilities. Up next, number 4, translocation. Now, we'll be talking more about Blink's trans-spatial displacement abilities and her javelins a little bit later on, but for the sake of this number, context, Blink can create javelins that she uses to teleport others and objects. Now, aside from all the neat stuff that they can do, which like I said we'll be getting to shortly, she can also use these javelins as beacons, or rather warp beacons, which will lock onto an object or an individual and translocate them to a keyed position determined by Blink. Now you can imagine how useful a skill like this can be when determining tactical approaches for battle, or when needing to go stealth and quietly remove a foe from the nearby vicinity. Moving on to number 3, her genetics. Details of Blink's ancestry revealed in the Apocalypse vs. Dracula miniseries shine some light on why Blink is the way she is. Now according to that story, in the year 1897, Apocalypse's genetic descendants, known as the Clan of Akaba, had a member the name of Frederick Slade. Slade looks a whole lot like Blink. He had pink hair, green tinted eyes, and could teleport himself, along with others and objects with a blink effect. Slade was forced to sire a child with a woman named Miss Ferguson. Because of this, it is implied that Clarice is a descendant of Frederick Slade's and therefore is also a descendant of Apocalypse himself. Oh. She does not like Apocalypse, or at least her Age of Apocalypse version does not like Apocalypse, so gotta be a lot of hard feelings there. And at number 2, the Exiles. Now it wouldn't feel right doing a list about Blink without discussing the Earth 295 Age of Apocalypse timeline Blink, the leader of the Exiles team. She's also very different than her 616 self. She's significantly more confident and determined and unafraid of her powers. The Exiles are a timeline hopping team initially employed by the Time Broker in order to fix broken realities. They would go on adventures all across the multiverse, including a slew of different hypothetical stories that carried more weight than Marvel's previous What If titles. Also, fun fact, when the Exiles were created in 2001, the story and the team were formulated from a period of development at Marvel in which the publisher was trying to create a new What If series. Anyway, Blink has always been one of the only constants on the team, one of the only remaining original members, and the team's leader, who initially wore the Talus device that allowed her to communicate with the Time Broker, prior to rebelling against him, that is. To this day, in the 3rd series of Exiles, Blink has remained their leader, showing tactical prowess and smarts in navigating the reality-hopping troupe of heroes. And finally, in our number 1 spot, Teleportation Javelins. The Earth 295 version of Blink is a bit more advanced when it comes to her abilities than her 616 counterpart. She has learned how to manipulate her powers in other ways, including focusing her abilities into short, transparent, crystal-looking javelins, which she throws as projectiles, which teleport whoever or whatever they touch. As we mentioned earlier, they can also be beacons, so it can be a very tactical weapon too. Now these are also called dimensional energy projection, which cause disruption by partial teleportation. She can use them to redirect incoming attacks, fire them back at her foes, and in addition to those, she can charge the javelins so that they cut through objects by teleporting said objects' matter elsewhere. They can stun opponents, cause her foes to go unconscious, and she generally keeps a couple of them in a quiver that she wears on her back. It's also worth noting that her physical appearance was something that was altered in the Exiles too. While still maintaining her lilac skin color, her eyes would get a bit of a makeover. Initially, in both the Age of Apocalypse timeline and the Ultimate Marvel Universe, she had white eyes with a blue sheen versus a green tint. The more you know, fun fact. Alright, there we have it, friends. How do you feel about Blink? Are you a big fan? Do you not know a whole lot about her? Do you want to know more? Give us a shout in those comments below and share all your thoughts and feels. If you guys like this video, you know what to do. Hit that like button, share with a friend, and be sure to subscribe to Top 10 Nerd for more videos just like this one. In the meantime, thanks for watching, friends. I'll catch you all in the next video.